Let's start out by taking a look at an actual example of how companies have listened to their customers to help a product evolve. A long time ago, listening to music was not quite as sophisticated as it is today. At that time, though, something like the 8-track tape was cutting edge. At some point, though, customers expressed a need for something better. A few evolutions of product later, people were walking around with music strapped to their hips, and the 8-track tape became obsolete. Though this technology is laughable when stacked up against modern equipment, at the time, the Sony Walkman was state-of-the-art. Well, it was until the Discman came out anyway. People did not specifically request a portable compact disc player, though. What they complained about was the fact that they had to fast forward and rewind to find what they wanted, and that the music had poor sound quality. The engineers are the ones that figured out how, exactly, to deliver those improvements. And customers were quite satisfied with this new technology. For a while, anyway. If you check your pockets, I'm betting that most people listening to this presentation will find something similar to this device on the screen. How did a smartphone come about? As people grew accustomed to the portable compact disc player, they started to complain. They wanted more music. They hated the skipping. Compact discs were easily scratched. So MP3 files were developed, leading to early MP3 players. Apple entered the market with the iPod, which eventually turned into the iPhone. But just like all the people owning the products earlier in this evolution, we will quickly become dissatisfied with the product we are using. That pressure for better products shows no signs of letting up. That means that 10 or 15 years from now, this chart will have a few more products on it, and the iPhone will be somewhere in the middle of the product evolution. We don't know right now what the new products will be, but you can bet that tech companies the world over are listening to all of our complaints about our smartphones, and they are already trying to come up with the next great thing. So if you understood why those products evolved the way they did, you have a pretty good gut feel for the voice of the customer. Now, a fairly formal definition of VOC is that the voice of the customer is the aggregate of all the different ways a customer will communicate with a company. That includes both overt and subtle messages. It also includes both positive and negative opinions. But when you boil it right down, there are generally only two reasons, and that is two main reasons, that customers give feedback to a company. The first is that they tell you what you're doing wrong. And the second is that they want something. This could be something as direct as placing an order, or something less obvious, such as a customer making a comment in passing to a repair tech. While the range of purposes behind a customer's communication with a company is fairly narrow, there are many channels for the communication between companies and their customers. These methods fall into four main categories, which we can show on this grid. On one side, we can break down communication by whether a company is actively seeking contact with a customer, or whether they're just sitting back and listening to what the customer is saying. On the other axis of this grid, we distinguish between numerical, cold, hard facts and the more emotional, opinion-oriented communication. In this quadrant, we actively go out and seek numerical information. We're collecting facts. If we want to get more open-ended information, the company will go out and ask people their opinions. When we just sift through the information that is already available, we are data mining. And finally, it is important to teach ourselves to pay attention to the information that is constantly circulating around the increasingly connected, social media-oriented world.